Hey y'all, this Divine Forever. I'm on here just to share a testimony with you guys. So y'all, like some time ago, I had just moved back into my mother's house. I had lived out of her house in a different city. I was there for about 5 years in a different city. And I left her house. I left her house because I had to, because I did not, my stepfather and I, we did not get along at all, and it was better for me to leave. It was better for me to go ahead and just leave. So there was no peace. There was no peace there. But so I left home for about 5 years. And then something happened to the point where I had to go back to my mother's to get back on my feet. And then so went back to my mother's. Man, I did not want to be there, y'all. Oh my God, I hated like my hometown. I hated my hometown. Period. I hated my hometown. I didn't want to be there in that house with my mother and my stepfather. And I didn't want to be there. It was just so many bad memories, just so many bad memories. And then my mother was sick. She was blind, and it's just the agony in seeing like your loved one blind or disabled and you can't do anything. And my stepfather, he was abusive, verbally abusive, physically abusive. And then when you hear someone abusing your mother with their words and talking to them any kind of way, and you can't do nothing about it, because if you say something, you say something, you stand up for that person, but they still with that person, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Just leave it alone, because, I had noticed that when I had got involved in stuff, it wasn't good. Somebody was either gonna go to jail or somebody was gonna die. Simple as that. I had to go, because it's either somebody was gonna go to jail or somebody was gonna die. That's how bad it was. So I'm back at my mother's house. Now my stepfather, at this time, I noticed it was a little change in him. He wasn't drinking no more. He was an alcoholic. I noticed he wasn't drinking no more. And all that cursing and all that stuff, that abusive stuff he was doing to my mother, I didn't hear him doing that. And I noticed he had stopped drinking. So I noticed it was a change there. And so I felt a little bit, comfortable being there. And then so I think at this point I have been at my mother's house for a good 6 months, for me just coming back from out of town, living from another city for 5 years. So I'm at her house. I've been at her house 6 months. So when I got back home, I kind of fell back like into the routine that I had before. So I would like get up through the day and go check on her to see if she took her insulin. She was okay. So, and at this point, I wasn't working nowhere, but I wasn't working anywhere. I was getting unemployment. Yeah, I was getting drawing unemployment. And I had got up to get dressed because I was getting ready to go on a date. And so I was like, before I go on this date, let me go check on my mama, make sure she okay. Make sure she okay. So I went in a room. And I was like, Mama. And she was just laying in the bed. She was just laying in the bed there. And I said, Mama. And she said, and then she said, come here, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, Mom. And she said, I'm ready to go home with the Lord. She said, I'm getting ready to go home with the Lord. And she said, there are some things I want you to do. She said, stay out the streets. She said, stay out them streets. Don't go back to prostitution. Stay out those streets. Don't go back to prostitution. Don't live with no man and you ain't married to him. And she said, at least get your GED. And I said, okay, Mama. I said, okay. But in my mind, I was like, thinking to myself, like, she's not going to go nowhere. That's what I said. I was thinking to myself. I said, okay, Mom. I said, okay, I will. So then I left out the room and I went back to go finish getting dressed to go on my date. So now I got dressed and I'm fully dressed for my date, and I go back in there again to talk to my mom. And then when I go back in there, I said, Mama, I'm getting ready to go. Mama. And this time she was unresponsive. So I went over there and I touched her. Her body was cold. So then I started shaking her. I was like, Mama, 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 wake up, wake up, wake, Mama, 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 Mama. And she was like, and then she said my name. And her breath left her body again. So when I went in there, she was gone. But the Lord put her spirit back in her body. And she was just barely, she probably just wanted to say bye. But the Lord, she was gone. The Lord put her breath back, her spirit back in her body. She went right back out. And then as soon as that happened, my stepfather from, I don't know where he was at, from out of nowhere, he just come in. He was like, go outside and see the ambulance out there. So I went outside. There was not one soul, nobody out there, no ambulance, nobody out there. So I went back in to go tell him, like, ain't nobody out there. And then so as soon as I walked in, it was about a minute. It was about a minute. Less than that, actually. I feel like it was about maybe 40 seconds. After I just walked back in from outside, nobody was out there. And it's been about 40 seconds, not even a minute. The next thing you know, the police, the ambulance, they're coming in. And then so the police officer walked me outside as they were pulling my mother out the bed to revive her. They had took her shirt off, her nightgown off, and was trying to revive her. And the police didn't want me to see it, so I went outside. I went outside like the police told me to. Y'all, when I went outside and I was walking from the back door to the front, and I'm looking, and y'all, it was about 45, 50 people out there. And I'm looking at these people like this. I'm looking at them in their faces. And none of them look like, none of them are my neighbors. None of them are my neighbors. And I grew up on that street. We had been on that street since I was like 5 years old. And we knew all our neighbors. And I didn't know none of them people that was out there. And then I was like, I was like, how all these people get out here like that? I just came from I just came from out here about a minute ago. I'm trying to figure out where these people come from. And then so when I'm looking at the people, I noticed they was all looking up in the sky like this. And I remember when they was looking up, I looked up and it was like, I seen stars and I seen like this light in the sky. Oh, you see the boy, I see. I seen a light in the sky and it was just like a beam going up. And y'all, I started shaking. I'm looking at these people and they look like humans, but when I look and I look again, I said, I knew them was not no humans. I said, oh my God, these are angels. Oh, you see about I said, oh my God, these are angels. Y'all, it's about 45, 50 of them. Angels. Oh, yeah. See, y'all, they was taking her to heaven. Oh, you see them all tell you. Oh, yeah, but yeah, I was shaking so bad. I'm trying to call my brother. I'm like, trying to call him. I'm shaking. And then my date pull up. Next thing you know, them people that was there, them 45 people, they were gone. They disappeared. By the time I was talking to my date, they were gone. And then now I see neighbors. Now the neighbors are coming out to see what the commotion is. Y'all. And they put my mama body in, they're putting her, rolling her body in the ambulance. And my stepfather gets in the back. I'm in a car with my date. We go out there to the hospital. And we're out there waiting. They wouldn't let me go back there to see her, to go back there. And then so they finally let me go back there. And when I went back there, my brother was already back there in the back. It's like sitting on the floor. And when I looked at him, I had already knew she was gone, but it was just, oh my God. I just broke down just crying. And then he said to me, she gone. He said, I tried to bring her back. He said, but when I touched her, I felt a shock in my hand. Oh, you see them? You see them? Oh, you see? He said, you know what? He said, Mama told me about a week ago. He said that she told him, I'm going home with the Lord. And don't y'all try to bring me back. She said, don't you try to bring me back, because if you do, you gonna feel a shock in your hand. You gonna feel a shock in your hand. And he told me, he said when he tried to bring her back, he felt that shock in her hand. Oh, you see the money.